Folks, welcome again to another virtual tasting with Whiskey and Barrel Night. So until we can all meet together in person, we're taking different themes from Whiskey and Barrel Night. And yes, we have New Jersey coming up in a couple weeks. Very, very carefully, very, very socially distanced and safe in an outside venue. Biagio's is going to be fantastic. But until we can all get back to normal, we're all doing some tasting and getting together however we can. So we've got a very special guest, Steph Ridgway from Inver House Distilling. I've had the pleasure and the privilege of knowing Steph for years, and a true whiskey expert, and somebody who knows her way around Scotch. That's for sure. So Steph is going to take us through. We've got a couple special guests, Gil, and then Gil, you run a chat with your group, and what is the name of your group again?
The name is The Enthusiastic Whiskey Hobbyist. As you and I discussed, I'm clearly not a marketing guy. Otherwise, I would have come up with a better name. But the name does reflect reality. I've been going to whiskey tasting since the mid-'90s. I host my own whiskey tasting for my synagogue with Brett Pontani from Binny's. Been doing that for almost 20 years. I've known Steph for at least a decade. And when the lockdown started, I decided to get my friends together to interview industry pros like you. We had you earlier this summer. We had Steph. She was one of our first interviewees. And we're just trying to have a good time and learn and survive through this lockdown until we can all do this in person again.
So, and Gil has some very interesting and cool people. And then we're in Chicago. We jumped across to the East Coast, and Catherine is from Philly and part of Mario's Scotch Club, and a true enthusiast. Catherine, how long have you been drinking Scotch?
Only since November of 2016.
Oh, awesome!
So my history with whiskey in general is I come from a family of bourbon drinkers, and I hate bourbon. Or I should say I haven't found one I like yet, but
there you go.
There you go.
I also never liked, and this will be interesting for me. I'm really excited to try these Irish whiskeys because I hadn't tried an Irish whiskey that I like either. I just recently rediscovered rye. Although the interesting thing about rye is my parents were very old school and used to give us rye when we were sick, when we were little. So rye makes me think of my childhood.
So, well, you know what? We're going to have to endeavor to find a bourbon you like. And actually, we're looking at that theme, and bourbon for Scotch drinkers and Scotch for bourbon drinkers on another show. And then Mario is my partner in crime, and very much a Scotch enthusiast, although we're weaning him over to bourbon periodically, and he finds a couple now and again that he likes. And Catherine, if you like that spicy rye, maybe we're going to have to go down a single barrel Four Roses path or something like that one of these days.
But, I'm especially enthused about having her try these Irish whiskeys, because I think today we're going to cause our first convert.
Yes.
I want to give Steph some credit for today's theme. She was the first ambassador that said to me that she preferred a younger whiskey from a brand that she was associated with in the past to their extremely popular and iconic older sibling. And that statement blew me away. And quite frankly, I didn't believe her until I was moved enough that she would actually make that statement in public, that I had to try it for myself, conceded 100% that she was correct. And it changed my way of viewing Scotch whiskey in its entirety. And I'd been drinking for 25 years at that point.
Wow. So you're saying you're less of a Scotch snob after talking to Steph than you were before talking to Steph.
That has been my evil plan from the get-go. I want to erase the snobbery from Scotch whiskey.
It was so effective that that's one of the catalysts to Dave and I putting together the idea for today's tasting?
So, and along the same things, one of my mentors when I got started in whiskey, Evan Katnack, who really invented the brand ambassador program. The man was absolutely, I mean, truly a legend. We were off mic one time and doing an interview, and I asked him what he drank. And this is a guy, he was the guy that invented the program for Diageo. He had the keys to the kingdom. And I said, what do you drink? And he goes, Dave, he said, if I'm out of town or at a bar, it's usually Johnny Walker Black.
Right.
And he goes, if I feel like a single malt, you know, Glen Kinchy or Craigenmore. And he goes, I like that. But regular 10 or 12-year-old, this is a guy that could have anything. Right? Because he was one of the blenders and worked at most of the Diageo distilleries before coming over here. And this is what he drank, and it was a real eye-opener, you know. Like I said on Gil's show, he says, but I don't drink whiskey, Dave. And I have a crappy Scottish accent. He says, I don't drink it, I sip it, and I let it get around in all the nooks and crannies and everywhere. So what we're going to do today, getting back on track, we have a mantra that we push with the event, and that is buy with your palate, not your ego. So what we did was we looked for some whiskeys where we could do a vertical, right? So we could stick with more or less similar flavor profiles along that line, but there was a range of whiskeys, and be it age or special finishes and so forth. So Steph has been incredibly generous with Inverhouse and that range of brands. Steph poured or got us samples from three different whiskeys, all the same brand. And she's going to coach us through these. And what we're going to do is we're going to decide what our favorite is, not what we think is the oldest, not what we think is the most expensive. But if we were at a bar and Mario was picking up the bill, then which one would we want to drink? So with that, Steph, we're starting with A. Talk us through it.
Well, thank you so much for actually having me on here and taking the time to say such nice things about me. Your checks for $5 are all in the mail. So yeah, you know, when Dave approached me, you know, we talked about, and I have a range of brands that I work with currently, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to pick two that I like, and I'm not divulging which two brands they are. So this first brand, I will give you just a wee hint, and I'm not going to tell you the name of it. But it is a Highland whiskey, and that's all I'm going to say about that whiskey until you have a chance to sip it. So A1, A2, A3, all from the same portfolio, but no guarantee on numbers or ages or statements or vintages or anything. Just ones that I find fun.
Wow. And no trying to guess what the brand is, since a lot of us know Steph and we know her brands.
Yeah, so Catherine, you're in this with me because you have no idea what my brands are. So you're my true guinea pig on this one.
And this is very cool because we've got a 20-year veteran consumer. We've got Catherine, who's been in the Scotch for 4 years. We got Mario, who's just now learning about Scotch. And it almost came out his nose.
Oh, Dave, you'll pay for that.
Very nice, Dave. Nicely done.
I got a little sting on that one. Got a completely different point of view on the whiskey, though, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Stephanie, Steph, this is delicious, this first one. It really is. It's sweet. It's got a little bit of spiciness to it.
Is there some fruit in there, Gil? You getting a little bit?
Yeah, I'm definitely getting some fruit. But the fruit isn't. It's not overwhelming.
No.
You know,
it's a hint. It's definitely
I've got a hint of lightly stewed pear for sure. That's one thing I'm definitely getting.
Yeah,
I would say pears are probably a good thing. Apples,
mango,
like a crisp apple. Yes, a mango, a little
mango,
tropical in there that you could get.
Yeah.
I might pull out a bit of banana.
Yeah, it's tasty. It's tasty. It's nice.
And I really, for me, this particular expression, I like what happens with just a drop of the merest, a whisper of water, just enough to open it up. I've always been so enamored of how water and whiskey react to one another. You know, it just That whole molecular structure business, that's where I geek out.
Yeah, it does open up. It's much more floral now. Yeah.
Catherine, the doctor scientist, could explain that in detail on another episode.
And we could, and that's where, like, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because we could talk forever and ever and ever. But like when I geek out on my own, I'm reading about the science behind distilling. That's what I
Yeah,
did.
I love that. Yeah, I get the banana after the water. I didn't taste it before.
See, now the water on number 2, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, the water on number 2 is a stunner.
It's
Oh.
this is delicious. I tend to like things that are a little bit more spicy. Okay, myself. And this is sweet. It almost reminds me a little bit of like the sweetness of and fruitiness of like a linkwood. It's it's nice. It's really, really nice.
Number 2, I get, and this is just my palate, so I'm
we're
not
supposed
giving you.
So number 2 now. You want us to go to number 2?
Have you tried number 2, Dave? I thought you were on number.
Yeah,
2.
I jumped over to number 2. I mean, picking a favorite out of these is going to be hard.
Okay.
Number 2.
Can I say one more thing
Yeah,
about
sure,
number
please,
1 though?
Catherine. Sure.
When I added the water, also I think the spice turned down a lot, and that brought the fruit out.
The sweet and the fruit came forward. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we talk about the science, that molecular structure. That it's pulling out an ester or a flavor profile. Just like when I explain it to my level 1 master's classes, I try to get everybody to step back to 9th grade when they put the drop of water on a cell on a little glass plate and looked at it under a microscope, and you saw the cell expand. When you put the water into the whiskey, those sweet characteristics, whatever they are, or whatever the dominant one really sits, will blow up a little bit. So, that's what I find fun. The number 2 for me, I mean, this is me personally, and I don't want to steer anybody, so I'm going to wait until you guys tell me what you think of number 2.
Do you get a little with the water? Is it me, or is there a little bit of aged wood that's coming out of that?
Are you talking about water on number 1 or water on number 2?
Number 2.
Okay.
Number 2.
I haven't gotten to water on number 2 yet. I'm just drinking number 2, and it's hotter. Okay.
A little hotter.
It's hotter. It's hotter in my mouth. Hotter in a good way. I like it. It seems to have more of a body to it. It is for me spicier, and whereas the fruit was like the lighter fruits in the last one, for me this is more like darker cherries. Something like that. A little bit more of intense of a chocolate maybe or something. Yeah, really nice.
I gotta agree with Gil. It's exactly the experience I had. First thing I noticed was the increased viscosity over number 1, but it's spicier and oilier, and the fresh, expressive light fruits are
And remember, we're
overlaid
looking
by the darker fruits.
for our favorite, and that's the whole thing. So I'll be honest, I like number 2 with less water, and I like number 1 with. That's just me, and
That's cool.
everyone's different.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump over to number 3. We've got to pick a favorite.
Yeah, we got to do 3 so we can pick a favorite, and then I
Yeah.
can unveil
We don't
them.
I haven't done 2 with water yet even.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're falling behind there, Gil.
Pick it up,
Come on,
Gil.
pick it up there.
Oh, where's that Gil that's
Number
at
2
Whiskey
does have a
Jubilee
very
when we're about to
muted
close up?
nose.
Yeah, talk to me in about 2 hours, Steph.
Not thirsty this morning, Gil.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Oh, number 3 is stunning.
Loving the nose on 3 myself, sweet.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Now
It's
this
big, too.
the warming-
The big whiskey.
the warming is not just in the mouth, but it's going down. The warming is going down the throat. It's nice, like the warming up the chest.
Finishes a little longer to me on number
A
3.
lot longer. Yeah, Steph. I agree. Finishes a lot longer.
And I always like to kind of, I know we're picking a favorite, but I'm always very fond of asking people to sort of put things in context about the when they're drinking certain things versus, is it a summer afternoon? Is it in the fall? Is it winter after dinner? Did you have a bad day? Did you have a good day? All of those things also play a very important role. Like, hey, hey, I got fired
Agreed.
today. Break out the 30-year-old on somebody else's tab just because I can. But, so I would say that that's always something to consider. Favorites can change just based on time of day, meal, whatever.
Yeah, what you're
Absolutely agree.
eating. So,
I,
all
I
right.
have to say here something about number 3 here is that it's so good. I almost don't want to put water in it.
I
It's
would,
one, and I will, because that is our process here. But it is, this is,
Stands
there's
on its
nothing
own.
light about this. Okay, this brings to me the full experience of what a good dram should include.
Gil, you took the words out of my mouth. This is like classic Scotch. This is kind of what Scotch should be.
What is that very acrid taste on the front of my tongue?
Trying to figure that out too, Kath.
I can't tell you that, but when we unveil the bottles, I can certainly tell you that. But you're absolutely right. There is an acrid, almost herbaceous front of the tongue that hits you pretty hard.
Yeah, and I can't place it, but it's prominent.
It's not pleasant to me. The rest of it, once that goes away, the finish is really nice, but at the beginning, I don't like it.
That's the beauty of Scotch. That it's
Tastes like the
okay not to like
influence.
it.
Tastes like the influence of some sort of a fortified wine cask. Is what it reminds me of.
All right, so
Not exactly tannins, though.
yeah, that's why I do that big classic Scotch. So do we know? All right, so Gil, what are you
I want everybody
thinking?
to tell me what their favorites are. Or favorite, not favorites.
Or are you still thinking, Mario? Where are you at?
I'm going to say that in reference to what Steph said, that I could not agree with more. That favorite is really often a matter of what is appealing to your palate right this very minute.
Come on, a number, buddy.
I like how big number 3 is, but right now, number 1 is just speaking to me. The light expression of fruit is just suiting my early Saturday afternoon. I enjoyed that more than I think I should have. So I'm going to say right this very moment, 3 was the biggest in flavor, but 1 just hit the spot. I'm going to pick number 1.
I'm bouncing between 1 and 2, so I'm trying to figure that out myself. And then, Catherine, where are you?
I'm leaning towards number 1, although I do really like number 2. And when I added water to number 3, it just it exacerbated that acrid taste, and I really didn't like it with water.
Gil, you know where you're at?
Well, number 3, without a doubt, to me is my favorite. Would I pick it on a hot day, to go back to what Steph said? On a hot day, the answer is no. On a hot day, I would go for number 1. Okay, just because it's light, it's fruity, it's refreshing, and
I agree,
we've had
Gil.
a few really hot days here in Chicago now, so that's on my mind. And I loved all 3 of them, to be perfectly honest. There's a place for all 3 of these on my shelf, but I tend to go for big flavors, and that's what number 3 has for me.
And I think I'm going to go with number 2. So, Steph, what are we
I'm gonna
drinking
switch
here?
it.
So we got 2 number 1.
Wait, what is
number-
Catherine? Where did you land, Catherine?
1 sec. I'm going to switch to number 2. Once water was added to that, and I let it sit for a minute or 2, the flavors just really turned up.
I fully agree. I just revisited number 2. I'm not going to change my answer, but
I'm
after
changing
sitting
that.
for 5 minutes with a few drops of water, number 2 exploded open.
It did. It did.
Yeah,
But Gil, you're right. If it was a hot summer day, number 1 would be perfect. It kind of it reminds me in the lightness of like an Oban 14.
Yep. Yeah. Number 1 is light and fruity, but number 2 feels a little bigger.
Okay, we're falling down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. All right. Where are we, Steph? What are we drinking?
Let me just, and there's
Bring
no
us back.
changes because I've written them
Bring
down.
us back.
You're all in. I caught a kettle of fish. So Mario's sticking with number 1. David, Sweet, you're going with number 2. Catherine, you landed firmly on number 2. And Gil, you're landing on number 3.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I am very thrilled by these, and I'm going to tell you my favorite is number 2. And that's, and knowing, I mean, I could go down the when, why, and how, like I said, but my personal favorite is number 2.
It's beautiful whiskey.
I'm pleased to tell you all that you've been drinking Old Pulteney.
Wow.
So for Mario, I couldn't be more thrilled. Your favorite was the classic 12-year expression,
Oh,
which
wow.
totally underscores the drink with your palate, not with your ego or your wallet. I love that. Catherine and David, you guys both landed on the 15-year-old expression, which is my favorite. But I love that you guys were like, but you landed on the 15. So, and Gil, I just knew it before you even put it in the glass. I didn't even have to think. You landed squarely on the 18-year-old. So, but I love that you know your palate. Old Pulteney, as you know, and I was really had to tap dance around not saying salty or briny, because that's just what you would have known which brand that I was talking about. But as you well know, Old Pulteney is lives its life up in that northern coastal town of Wick. If you were getting any kind of dryness off of those, clearly that's the influence of the sea air. Catherine, for you, and Mario, you brought up sort of that acrid little bit of almost like a bitterness on the front of the tongue on the third one, which was the 18-year-old. The 18-year-old has got a really special maturation process. Malcolm Waring owns this start to finish. Spends probably 15 years of its life in first fill American bourbon casks, and then it's dumped into first fill Oloroso sherry casks, Spanish. But, so you're getting some of the tannins off of that Oloroso sherry, and you, Mario, you did bring up fortified wine. However, very interesting is Malcolm then moves these casks into the very back part of the warehouse number 5. And it's got an entirely different microflora back there. So the atmosphere is different in that part of the warehouse. And that part of the warehouse was actually where, I don't know, centuries ago, in 1800s, where we had our kiln, and the kiln's since been stripped, but the walls have maintained the moisture from all those years of heat. So it grows a different kind of moss on the walls back there, and that impacts this whiskey. Some people love it, some people hate it. Clearly, Gil is still trying to figure it out, but I know he loves it. But thank you. So I'm just thrilled that the vote was split. And that, again, just says, don't drink with your wallet.
Yeah.
And what somebody says is their favorite may or may not be yours. Being open to and do not be shy about saying, this is the one that I like.
Right.
And one thing with Scotch is they get older, they can get a little lighter. And one last thing before we jump over to the Irish to keep things going, when you do want to go to an older, more mature whiskey, something that's very, very light and very refined, the Old Pulteney 21, which we have in our VIP all the time.
Not anymore, you don't.
No.
Not anymore.
It's archived.
Phenomenal. I'm glad he told me that.
I thought everybody knew that. I get beat up on it, like people on the street see me and they knock me down. Like, what happened to the 21?
We don't let them out much, Steph.
Yeah, I'm on a very short leash. Yeah. They have my name up at Binny's. Barb has already called ahead and told them not even to let me in. So every time we do one of these, I've got to go shopping. So
what's funny, Dave?
I can tell you, Brett carries these all. So
yeah.
I want to add, Steph. From my job as moderating a rather sizable forum, I am constantly asked, what are whiskeys I want to start with? And I mean 2 or 3 times a week. And my short list answer always includes OP12. It's a standby recommendation for me, amongst a couple of others.
I call the OP12 my session whiskey. Like, I can just hang out with that whiskey.
Yep.
And it's, and it's 40 ABV. So it's clearly, it's everything the geek wants to scream at me about. But, blind, we all we all had good things to say about it and liked it. So it's like, I can drink that summertime. I can actually even get a big, large format ice cube, sit out on a really 90-degree day, and I've got a patio cocktail, or I can back it with a nice sweet lager.
Ooh.
Pair it with some beer.
Absolutely.
Nice. All right. So now we're jumping over to Irish. So does everybody have that handy?
I have them poured, baby.
All right. So we've got A, B, and C Irish whiskey. Traditionally, a little bit sweeter. Obviously, it's right up my alley. This is all the same brand. No trying to back analyze it. There's only a handful of them that we're able to do a vertical on.
You like sweet whiskey? Sweet.
Rumor has it, but I wouldn't.
I'm with you, sweet. I like that. Like if it anything that reminds me of creme brulee or coconut cream, I'm like, just fill the glass up.
Now, I brought my peat just so I could augment these whiskeys.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Smokehead.
All right, so the first one. Go ahead and let's get into this.
Got a lovely nose. Sticky sweet nose.
A little bit. Now, we've all poured these a little ahead of time because when I sent the samples out, we had wax paper over everything. Mario claimed that he had a leaker bottle. Yeah, right. He dipped into it early. Don't tell me otherwise. I'm like, yeah, uh-huh.
Here's the evidence.
That's the third time in 3 videos, we've always, oh, my whiskey's short. I don't know what happened. So we've got the first one.
Getting caramel.
Lots of caramel. Lots of caramel.
There's something savory in there, though. I can't identify.
A little bit of oak, a little bit of oakiness, right? Like an old
Possibly.
mature oak.
Yeah.
Like a barrel that's been used 27 times.
Yeah.
Not surprising, those Irish.
Yeah, well,
Almost like a good dry aged cheese. There's something there like that.
Just a little funky, but not bad funky. Just
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah, it's
cave
very
age.
cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the nose is very expressive. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, and in the second. Oh, wow.
Oh, the apples. Apples are jumping out to me. Green apples are just
Yeah, which is real classic for Irish whiskey, the apples and the pears.
I get apple and just a nose full of malt. Like I get somebody just poured me a bowl of grape nuts on the nose there.
Oh, yeah.
And I love grape nuts. So please, I'm happy.
Wow.
I think the nose has a little bit of green grass in it.
Yeah.
Or wheat field or something very...
Hey, clean.
Yeah, fresh cut hay.
Kathy, I'm getting an apple orchard. Tell you the truth, I'm getting an apple orchard here.
Exactly.
And I get big malt on the palate, but I find the finish on this one to be drier than the first one. And that's just where I am. But I get big malt right at the front of the palate.
Yeah, it's a very short finish, though. Is that typical
It's a
of
dry.
Irish?
Well, some yes, some no. I would say it just depends on which Irish it is or what the ABV is.
Steph, would you agree that on a lot of the Irish, if you've got a long finish, it's that fruit that's hanging out. Like Knob Castle's got a lot of that pear that comes through all the way to the end.
Yeah, like that. I 100% agree. And you couldn't have picked a better example than Napog, which is one of my. That's where I land in the world of Irish. I love that. I love it.
Their 16 is outrageous stuff.
Yeah.
I have a bottle of it and I'm rationing it because I'm no longer in a city talking to all my whiskey geeks where I can horse trade at any given time.
Right.
So now
Hey, Benny's is down the street from me, Steph. Just give me a call. We'll package it,
It's funny. Benny,
I've taken advantage of Brett on more than one occasion
I'm
since
sure
I've
you
been
have.
here.
So Benny's, it's really funny. You know that you're a regular when they notice you, even when they recognize you, even when you're wearing your mask.
Yeah.
And it's like and we're not talking just the senior staff. It's like I walked in yesterday just to buy another bottle, and immediately I say, "Hey, Gil, how you doing?" It's like, and I'm all covered up. It's hilarious. I want to say one more thing about number 2 here. On the nose, on the front, as we mentioned, I'm getting really those apples, those really fresh apples, and then it's
Yeah.
funny on the palate, on the taste, I'm getting pears. It's an interesting, fruity, delicious whiskey. Really nice, really nice.
Now the water.
Absolutely. Fall orchards, fall fruits.
Now the water tends to weaken that. I almost like number 2 neat. Just my opinion.
I would say I'm 100% agreeing with you. To me, the water on number 2 sort of obliterates all the cool stuff that was there when I took it neat. And I'm an advocate of drink your whiskey however you like it. I don't care, and neither do the people that make it. You want to put ice, water, don't cheat yourself out of an experience. You can always land back, to Gil with this first round. You didn't want to, but try it. You might be surprised. And if not, there's more. And
Right.
me, you know me very well. There can definitely be more.
Yeah.
But you just how you drink it is how you drink it. And,
Right.
the experience just changes. I think that the water kind of harmed number 2 for my palate.
I agree
Didn't
with
harm
you.
the whiskey.
And I concur.
All right, and then we've got.
I
number
agree,
3.
Mario. I can taste kind of like sweet potatoes or sweet pumpkin
And which one are you on, Kath?
on 2.
That's
You're getting
now I got to go back and taste that because I love
Okay.
pumpkin.
But clearly
Without
lots of
without the pumpkin spice. No spice in it.
no spice, but lots of kind of October things.
Mhm.
That's
But that to me went away when the water was added.
Oh,
yeah.
I would
Yeah.
add water then.
And then number
No,
3.
you should add water for the experience. Because Sweet owes us all
Okay.
extras because it leaked. So he'll be sending us
Yeah.
more. I got your back, Mario. Don't worry.
Thank you, dear.
Oh wow.
Number 3.
And number 2. All right. What do you? I mean, I'm getting. There's a real prominent nose
Number
on
2?
that.
Number 2.
I mean, number 3. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a big nose, but I find that I like the nose better. Like, I don't know. To me, the nose on 1 or A was
So I'm getting from number 3 a good amount of like iodine, but also some milk chocolate. Not dark chocolate, but milk chocolate. It's more mild. There's like a mildness there.
creamier. It's creamier.
Yeah, creamy. That's it. The creamy, right? It's like a right. There's something with the texture that makes it creamy. That's a good descriptor. Yeah, it's I mean, it's close to a cocktail almost. The way with the creaminess of it, with the texture of it.
I get a little bit more heat on the tip of my tongue
On 3,
on 3. Yeah.
yeah, I would agree, but I would say a teeny bit more,
Mm-hmm.
not a lot more.
It's just enough to me to go. My tongue's tingling a little bit more,
Yeah.
not a.
Fully agreed.
Or I find the finish to be a little bit more acidic.
All right. So Mario, your favorite out of the 3?
I'm into A, C, B is my order. A is my favorite.
And Steph?
I'm going strong A. I like strong A. I love the nose. I love the mouthfeel. The A held up with the water. It held up neat. A is like, and I went back and did them all again. I'm landing solid A.
What do you think, Gil?
They're very different. This
Yes.
is one of those things where, with the first flight, there were similarities. Okay, they were, here these are very, very different, and when things are so different, it's tough for me to determine which is my favorite. And it's funny, I'm actually thinking that the third one that C is my favorite because I like the texture of it. Okay,
Sure.
the texture of it to me. I also like B, because I do like the apples and the pears. I think that's very nice. C, and then A was okay. I don't think that, to me, there was nothing about A that I would say would bring me back, okay, too much, except, again, the lightness on the rocks on a hot day. Okay, so A would be great, light on the rocks on the hot day. It would be nice and refreshing. But depending on what mood I'm in, if I'm in the mood for fruit, I'm going for B.
Gil, it's today, right now.
Right. Thank you,
Don't-
Steph. You beat
don't
me to it.
We're all gonna hang up if you don't tell us what
You were 3 seconds ahead of me.
C.
I love you, Gil. We'll do
C.
this again.
The answer is C. You got
C.
me. I'm
Okay.
done. C.
Hey, Catherine.
I am, and this is fantastic. I love this. I am absolutely in love with A. However, when I added water, it got really hot, which is strange.
Yeah.
I don't understand that, but
You and I will talk
it
about
just
that later.
kind of burned the tongue. B I absolutely loved as well. Not as much as A, but B would be great for like a spring day, like a daytime drink, whereas A is more of an evening cocktail. But B I liked, and with water, yes, I agree. The flavor just,
And which one are you saying right now that you
Right.
like best?
I'm talking about B. So I liked
But that's
B.
what you like
I love
best,
that,
B.
No, no,
that
no.
sort of pumpkin-y flavor.
What's your pick right this minute? Is
Yeah.
your favorite?
B. She took B.
No, she took A.
Oh yeah, A is my favorite, but
Okay.
I love
That's
B.
it. That's
But A
that's
is
what we're
definitely
here
my
for.
favorite.
All right, and
Yeah.
for
C I was not a very big fan of.
and for the Dave Sweet Tooth, I'm definitely going with B. So, Gil, you were the first one.
Yeah, I went for C. I mean,
Oh, you went for C. My
Gil goes
apologies.
C.
And then Catherine, Mario, and Steph are all the first one, A or
A.
number one, and I'm B. All right. So what we've got is Bushmills,
Holy cow!
right? So the first one was Bushmill 16.
I told you
I
sweet.
land right there, baby.
I told you sweet.
So, and then the second one, B is actually their blend, so it's Bushmills Black Bush. You're talking about a $35 bottle, right?
Wow.
And I mean,
That's delicious.
we had Ethan Kelly on the show, and we were talking about whiskeys that punch above their weight class. And this is one of Ethan's absolute favorites, and he put it in an odd way. He says the best reference I can give of that whiskey is I don't buy it anymore because when I buy a handle and it doesn't last long. Okay, Ethan.
I love
So-
that.
Good for the liver.
And C is number 10 is Bushmills 10. So their 10 and their 16 are their single malts,
Okay.
right? And then the Black Bush is their blend with about 80% single malt and then 20% other grain. And then married. Now the 16, what you're getting in that is Oloroso sherry, right?
Which is very
And-
weird for me because I'm not a sherry bomber, but that's the one that I was like,
No,
I just
that's a
did it.
marriage of 4 casks, Steph.
It's
Okay.
not a bomb. I didn't get that much.
The
sherry from
16 is a marriage of 4 different casks. That's what makes it so broad
Okay.
and complete.
Well, it's got some port in there, and everything's originally aged in bourbon. Plus, you've got all that fruitiness that's so classic of the Irish whiskeys, right? So you got the fruit, and then you got the fruits from the port. I think it mellows the sherry out. So
Because I didn't find it to be astringent at all. And I'm also a bit of a port geek. Like I love port. Love it, love it, love it. That's a winner. Dave, what does that 16 retail for?
it's right around.
It's about $1.25.
Yeah, now it's
Fair
about
enough for a
$1.25.
16, yeah.
Back, 6 months ago, it would have been $80-$90.
Yeah.
You're talking about a 16-year-old single malt.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what,
And-
but $1.25 for a 16-year-old single malt's perfectly agreeable in my head.
Yeah.
Right.
Knowing, just the market.
And that just happened recently. Went
Oh.
from just under 100 to just over 100 within the last year.
And Black Bush is about 35, and then the 10 is in between. So,
Oh.
it's again, it's drinking with your palate,
Yeah.
not with your ego. Some really fun whiskeys. And Catherine, are we warming you up to Irish whiskey a little bit?
I think so. I'm really excited.
And I'm going to pull a plug for that when you brought up, again, get yourself to, I'm in Pittsburgh, so you're in Philly, so sort of sucks for what we can get, but clearly we've got these guys that can get us whatever we want. Try some of that Napog 16. Literally, it'll change your life.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
that
one
it's
oth-
a
one other
total
thing
fruit
also-
and apple bomb and pears and oh, what a wonderful dram.
Yeah, Gil.
Catherine, one thing I was going to mention is that, there are a lot of American distilleries that the people who are the distillers got into this because they liked Scotch. Okay. And they're trying to make things here in America that Scotch drinkers would like. So, getting to know, those types of distilleries, and they're all over the country now. There's a lot of good stuff being made here. So
American single malts, like check them out. I mean, they're I don't ever like the word to use cheap because that has a bad connotation to it, but highly affordable. Highly.
Yeah.
There's in Pennsylvania alone where we are. I mean, you can get, and then within Pennsylvania with the COVID restrictions, I mean, not that I'm not going to turn this political, but Governor Wolf did one thing right, and he relaxed some of the restrictions that these distilleries can ship to your home now.
Yeah.
So, and on what you were talking about on American whiskeys, just a little segue for one moment, and we're going to go to Steph's third one as I'm watching the clock. We just did Barrel and Bottle, which was Town Branch Distillery, right? So really fast, Dr. Pierce Lyons, who we just lost last year, is a first generation Irish American, and his parents were Coopers. So they started Town Branch Distillery as a spinoff from Lexington Brewers, right? And he set that whiskey up not in Scotch, but in traditional, because of the family connection, Irish whiskey. So Town Branch Pierce Lyons Reserve, their regular American single malt, is $40, and it's a 7-year-old single malt.
And it's
Yeah.
damn good.
Right,
I have
and-
a bottle on my shelf.
It is absolutely fantastic stuff. But going to what you were saying, right? They set up distills into production to mirror Irish whiskey made in Lexington, and as is happening with a lot of our other American single malts, some of them are putting their own twists on it, and some of them are looking to grab
More traditional.
some Scotch drinkers.
Yeah,
With that
that's
being said,
Well,
we're going to go to our last Scotch bottle.
That's been our
and-
mission, Dave, is looking for real high quality, great value American single malts.
Yep. No, absolutely. So, Steph, you're going to walk us through. I've got the VIP glass out just for you for the last tasting here.
Awesome.
Playing Taskmaster and moving things along.
And I appreciate that. I mean, I'm happy to jump on any kind of like Zooms you ever want to drink when I don't have a time, and I'll geek out. Mario, you should call me and I'll do the club if you want to do one. Absolutely.
Absolutely, Steph.
Steph, I got a lot of really good comments after our interview.
Oh, cool. Thank
I mean,
you.
it's a bunch of people were emailing me saying, she's awesome. I love her. She love her passion. Really, that was a wonderful interview.
I was just, I thank you. And I appreciate the comments, but, it's just, I've always been like, that's why I was so excited to be a part of this. It's like, let's just strip this is a category fraught with perceived rules. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, like, just cut them out. You drink it how you like it. You might like some, you might not. Let's just make it fun. Malcolm Waring, John McDonald, Bobby Anderson, Gordon Bruce, the guys that make all the stuff I'm aligned with now. I mean, they don't sit up there and like try to keep a scorecard of how people are drinking it. They just want people to have fun with it. So I'm glad that comes across. But on to the final flight. We're sticking in the Highlands. And I have to tell you, this is just some of the most fun whiskey in the world. So we're going to start with number one, B1. I get a lot of big caramel on the nose.
Oh, wow.
Full-bodied.
A lot more than some other Scotches I've had. I mean, more than usual that'll come out in Scotch. You're used to a lot of caramel in bourbon.
A little bit
The
of
nose on this is very expressive. It's gorgeous.
I'm getting some like chili peppers, some black pepper. You know,
But
something
there's
spicy.
definitely some
Ooh.
spiciness on that.
Yeah.
Oh, Gil, you nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Exactly.
There we go. Too much black pepper.
Wrong. Went down the wrong pipe. I'm sitting there thinking about what Gil's saying.
Snort
You're
it
gonna
out
fall
your nose.
backwards again, aren't you, sweet?
You know, last show I reached back to grab something off the back, so I've got a bunch of these whiskeys here. I'm not doing that again. I fell off the chair.
On camera. Edit.
And no, I did not edit that out, so that'll be for everyone's
That's
entertainment pleasure.
awesome. Good for you.
I just dropped, and Flavian and Rob Dietrich are sitting there laughing their tails off, and then I just dropped the bottle, and I've got a horked up knee, so I'm sitting here. That's why I just limped off. So falling off the chair, dropping bottles. I'm gonna knock a big bottle off.
I actually,
were
in one of
hysterical.
my interviews, it might have been the interview with you, Dave, actually, I started off by dropping a bottle. Okay, I knocked the bottle off immediately, and it's like, luckily I recovered and the bottle was fine, but it changed how I do my calls and how I do my setup.
Yeah.
Because
All right, so getting back to the whiskey. So this is
Got a lot of caramel on this stuff.
big.
yeah, it's interesting.
That's-
I'm getting the
That spice
The
note.
heat
What
in
are
the
you
mouth.
getting, Gil?
yeah, I'm getting the space. It's in the mouth. I'm getting it. You know, it's like not down here. The heat is in the mouth. The mouthfeel is lingering, and I'm still getting black pepper. I'm getting maybe black pepper with a little bit of brown sugar. An interesting combination there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think this is where I'm getting a little bit of that pumpkin spice we were talking about not existing earlier.
Oh, Mario, where do you go to number 2?
Number two is a fun one.
Oh, that is. So if somebody asked, what does Scotch taste like? This is it right here.
Great legs.
For a
Oh,
non.
thanks, Gil. I didn't know you noticed. Oh, you meant the whiskey. Oh, sorry.
Definitely
I
darker than
don't
number
get
one.
as much caramel off of the second one as I do.
No.
No. It's more like an acetone smell.
The nose is bigger on number 2.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh,
like burnt butter, you know, like
Yes, exactly.
creme brulee type of
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Yep, like a burnt butter creme brulee. It's
Mario, we're going to have to bring Gil with us for the next barrel selection for barrel and bottle.
I'm there. Twist my arm.
And then number 3.
Oh, I haven't put water in number 2 yet. Hold on.
Come
Let's
on,
put water in
Pokey.
number 2.
Yeah, come on. We're on a time frame here. I'm going to be
Number
doing
2
final
is water.
credits, and Steph is going to be gone.
Number 2
No.
with water is excellent.
Mm.
Steph, I love the color on number 3. It's gorgeous.
Oh, man.
It's a pretty whiskey.
Yeah, it really is.
Ooh. I'm going to have a real hard time not having number 3 as a favorite.
And it's okay if number 3 is your favorite.
Steph, it's not okay. With him, it's not okay.
But you know what it is? You know what that is? That's Christmas candy on the finish.
Mm.
Right?
Tea coffee pudding.
Fireplace in front of the
Yep.
fireplace.
That's holidays being politically correct. That's holidays candy.
It's Christmas. I'm sorry, everybody, and Hanukkah. It's December holidays.
There you go. It's holiday.
Definitely-
It's everything after Thanksgiving to New Year's. All the candy, all the sweet.
Everything all rolled up into one.
Yes. Oh my
Really
God.
good.
No,
Very
that's it.
The
haphazardly
Christmas
ended up with
stocking.
this.
It's all 8 days of Hanukkah. It's
Oh.
Happy Kwanzaa. We got it all.
Yes. Oh man. All right, I'm done. So I go for number 3. We can wrap up now.
Okay, so sweets number 3. Mario, where'd you land?
I-
Right now, gun to head.
Hurry
Steph,
up. Come on.
I hate to do this,
No,
but I got to agree with him.
that's
Got it.
okay.
No.
No, it hurts.
It's not a leap year, is it?
It's 2020, so anything is possible.
Yeah, there you go. All rules are gone.
I know.
That's
But
right.
it was a
point.
leap year, actually.
And it
Good
was
point.
a leap year. So with
No
that,
rules. Great point, Dave. No
Catherine,
rules.
where do you land?
Catherine?
3 is amazing. So I wasn't thrilled with the nose. I
Where
like
do
the nose
you
on number
land,
1 better.
Where do you
The
land?
palette on number 3 is just unbelievable.
Who's your favorite? 3?
This is going to be disappointing because it looks like we're going to have a consensus.
I know
Wow.
Gil's going to say 3.
Yeah. The big body on 3, the big flavor, the big body. I mean, I was torn to number 1 because of the pepperiness, and I like pepper. I like spice. I like hot
I
peppers.
did like that.
But the full body experience of 3,
And
I mean, that's
today, 3. And I'm not surprised, Catherine,
Yeah.
we've just met, but the 3 of you, I'm not surprised that you landed on number 3. I had to think. I threw 1 in because I wanted to get a reaction, and it was actually a very positive reaction. And you guys are probably all going to go, pardon my French if you have to edit this out, son of a bitch. I can't believe I like that as much as I did. But you actually are all drinking Speyburn right now.
Okay.
Biggest single malt nobody's ever heard of. 51% of the global volume of Speyburn is done here in the United States.
Wow.
And you're all going to get it. The first one is the Speyburn Aranta cask, which is our non-age statement. But what makes this one so special, and you all nailed it without knowing you nailed it, we only produce 2,000 bottles a year. It's all U.S. exclusive, but it's 100% first fill American bourbon. So everybody that was calling out all the spiciness, all the heat, all the caramel, and somebody even said, you usually get that on bourbon. So Catherine, the Scotch for bourbon drinker right here. I mean, we did this with that in mind. This is actually it's 46. So it's an NAS 46 ABV, all your spiciness, all your pepperiness.
Wow.
This is my number 1.
How much does it go for? What's the retail on that?
$50.
Nice.
That pepper
Seriously.
actually goes away with the water, though.
Yeah, it gets sweeter.
Some of the pepper goes away.
That is really a fantastic scotch.
I know. Everything that if the people that we're usually, or I'm usually talking to, the ilk, if it was all on the table at a show, this would be the one that they'd go, but they'd like it, but they'd be looking at numbers. They'd be looking at labels.
Oh, no.
Where this is like just good whiskey. The second one, we did a vertical. I went straight vertical, is our 15-year-old. I skipped the 10 and I skipped our other non-age statement. But this is the 15, and somebody said creme brulee.
Yeah, that was good.
Use, exactly. This is where, it's Speyburn, so you know, we typically are using American oak, by and large. 15 is where we've started to introduce more of the Spanish sherry. So this is, if I was guessing, and I won't stand hard on
Pedro
it.
Jimenez? Was that Pedro Jimenez?
Oloroso.
Okay.
We've started, this is probably about a 50-50 split in the vat of first fill American and first fill Spanish sherry.
Nice stuff.
But where you all landed, and I'm not surprised even a little bit, is our 18-year-old.
Yeah, it's great
which
stuff.
is brand new, like 2 years in the market. Significant amount of it. We flipped it. We jumped the shark, so to speak. There's significantly more Spanish, first fill Spanish sherry on this. This one, like, tiptoes on the bomber. Like, if you went a little bit further into it.
Yeah.
And I've had people that drink. I'm not maligning the brand at all. I love the brand, but I've had people like hardcore Macallan 18 fans that took a sip of this and went, and this sits at 145 on the shelf for an 18. So you can't.
Yeah, an 18 with good
south
sherry.
Of 200.
Right, an
Where do
18
you
with
find
good
that
sherry
anymore?
for that's a good price now.
Thanks a lot, Steph. You just got me in trouble with Barb again.
Well, I've been doing that for 15 years,
I
why
can
should
see
I stop this particular Saturday?
I can see her calling Joe down at Marcy Street, going, Joe, if he walks in, I swear to God, kick him out. You know.
Yeah.
Oh my
Kick 'em
God.
somewhere anyway.
Yeah, kick him somewhere. Yeah.
And the 18 is unfortunately, Catherine, is not. I don't know if it's even special order in Pennsylvania. It might be. It sucks for us here, quite frankly. But New York, yes. You want to call me? You're calling me?
I'm telling Kath, if she calls me, I'll take care of her.
Yeah.
We'll get you whiskey.
Why did New York and Chicago happen easily? I mean, in all accounts, Gene, Binny's, Kenwood, clearly.
Yeah, we got
Astor,
everything.
All of that, everywhere.
Steph, I
Catherine.
got to tell you, when your former colleague poured this at my club a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It went over huge.
Oh, the
We were
Oranta?
all,
Yeah. Mhm.
yes, we were all shocked at how much we enjoyed a very inexpensive NAS whiskey.
Not NAS. It's just like, holy cow.
Yeah.
This was the first, Speyburn 10 that's my kitchen whiskey. I mean, I love Speyburn 10 I'm not looking for big complexity. I'm just looking for a solid dram.
It's
in a
less
glass.
than $30.
Wow.
It's less than $30.
I call Speyburn 10 my
Yeah.
Tuesday night whiskey. I just finished laundry. I'm going to have a dram, right? And then
I love that, Steph. I got to tell you, I love that, and one of the reasons I love that is because my wife has, she's pointed out that I'm doing all these tastings and stuff, and and I've told her, I said, yeah, but I'm not drinking on the non-tasting nights just because I know the temptation now of, we're stuck at home, we're not going to bars, not enjoying ourselves. But you're right. I mean, it's like we have to have room on our shelves for the lower end stuff.
right.
Absolutely.
That's important.
It's
and
just yeah.
And I don't, and Gil, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I don't know if I'd say lower end. I just say less.
no, I meant from the dollar amount. Lower,
Less-
I mean,
On the dollar spectrum, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
because
good point,
believe
Dave.
me, I've always in my whiskey tasting that I've had every year with Pantani at Binny's for several years, what we did was I had him generate a list for us of good whiskeys under $35, and the reason why is because at synagogue on Saturday mornings we always have a shot, and we have our own locked cabinet at synagogue.
I
And
love.
I always
coming
wanted
your
to have
synagogue.
right. It's a great place.
I'm the whiskey
And-
shiksa. Go ahead. so.
Well, when we can go back, we'll do it. And my point, though, is that I knew that he would help me generate a list of good stuff that didn't cost that much money. Okay, because there is good stuff that doesn't cost that much money. At the same time,
Absolutely.
we all have our shelves, and I'm glad to say that one thing that's happened as a result of me hosting all these, all of these tastings and these interviews online is that my wife has finally agreed to let me put in a whole new cabinet and shelf, because an area we actually discussed it, and I'm planning it now, and I'm very excited.
He just wants all that crap off the floor, Gil.
Well,
Yeah.
I wanted to let one thing before I'm really, when you're wrapping up, Dave, soon, or before I have to go, I wanted to point out that there's another, there's an NAS in the Old Pulteney portfolio called Huddart, which has actually has some peat influence. And I was thinking of you, Mario, when I was, thinking about what I was going to do, but I specifically didn't do it because that's the expression I sent Gil for when I was on his show.
Right.
And
I
I'm
knew
like,
it.
he's
No.
going to call it out. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that.
And-
But I would happily, Mario, if you've not tried the Huddart yet, make
Yeah.
sure that I get a sample to you as well.
Thank
Right,
you.
the
I like
Huddart
that
is
a lot.
excellent. Yeah,
So-
the Huddart is,
so
and actually,
let me-
Stephanie, I particularly did not open the Huddart or taste it over the last week, knowing that we were doing this today, and I have another Old Pulteney. I avoided them to make sure that I wasn't going to have anything that would
Nice.
color me towards this.
And the reason that I chose Speyburn, because Dave clearly was talking about Old Pulteney and Balblair, which is fabulous, and but given the theme of this particular show, I'm like, if you want to talk about drinking with your palate and not your wallet, Speyburn is the exactly fits right in that sentence. It
Absolutely.
deserves a seat at that conversational table.
And I would go to number one. And Steph, can you just hold that bottle up again? We're gonna get I'll get a
I'm
bottle
gonna
shot
send
from
you
you.
bottle. I'm gonna
Yeah.
send you professional pack
But,
shots and
yeah.
logos.
And then, or just a landscape picture, because Kevin, our video guy, just does wonderful things. But this is absolutely a fantastic whiskey. This is the definition of buy with your palate, not your ego. Everyone here on the panel loved it. I mean, all of them. That was just
Good stuff.
fantastic. So to run through really fast, on the Old Pulteney, we had which whiskeys now, Steph? We had the 12, 15, and 18.
12,
right?
15, and 18. Yep.
And we were split around across the board.
Across the board, Mario weighed in with the 12. You, Sweet, and Catherine were hanging with the 15. I'm a 15 fan. Gil, solid 18, but with if it was summertime and I was outside, I'd be drinking.
Yeah.
We got an honorable mention with the 12.
Couldn't help
An
it.
HM to the 12.
Yeah, we couldn't reel him in on that one. And then with the Speyburn, it was a sweep for the 18.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
To the Aranta cats.
absolutely. And phenomenal whiskey with a very close second on the middle. I mean, they're all wonderful. I mean, you go back when you relax people, and when you get and you just drink the whiskey for what it was meant for, which was drinking and having fun. You really have an appreciation for what the blenders, what the distillers were doing, and the quality of the whiskey. So, Steph, thank you very much for bringing the quality stuff to the show. And the same thing with the Bushmills. You know, we bounced around with the Black Bush and the 16, and none of them were bad. And a lot of it just depends. Yeah. Steph, you nailed it. Kind of what the day is, what you're doing, what you're eating. So with that, thank you, Catherine. We're gonna have you back on the show. Gil, always.
Thank you so much, Kath.
Mario, this will be your last one, and then.
You're on a performance improvement plan, Mario.
See, I promise, by the way, that I will not equivocate as much as I did.
You will. We love that you. We love the sentiment, Gil, but that's just you, and that's what we love about it.
But you bring a thesaurus with you, which is great.
Yeah.
It's
yes.
Okay.
I do like it all.
We can do that. Like we'll do like a bloopers reel where we'll all get back together. Oh. And everybody just roll.
And Gil will bring in the equivocation, you know.
Equivocation, yes.
I want to say, can I just say that thank you, Steph, so much, because the only Old Pulteney that I've had I didn't like. It was a travel retail. I forget which one it was, but I think I knew that I would like some of them, and I'm really excited that I tried a few that I like.
And I'm happy to, if you've got clearly the email because Dave sent it, if you want to get in touch with me offline and you want to learn a little bit more about the brand, happy to chat with you.
Definitely. Thank you.
And that's the whole reason why we go to tasting events, wherever it is in the country, whichever one. You know, you talk to the experts like Steph, and they will, especially Steph, and will give you her unadulterated, honest view. It's one thing I've known, Jesus, Steph, we go all the way back to when you were here in Chicago. So
standing in that field for the
Scottish Festival and Highland Games,
like freaking knee-high mud. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, Oak Brook, and oh man, thanks a lot. And all right, so you're saying I owe you more, and then
I came back
just a little.
So. But with that being said, folks, definitely, you know, when you go to an event, whether it's Whiskey and Barrel Night or wherever, talk to the brand ambassadors. Ask them. Don't just go up there and go, give me your oldest. Okay? You want to turn a brand ambassador off, go up and ask them, give me your oldest.
You want to aggravate me? Give me the best thing you have on the table. Say that to me. I will pour you the youngest thing on the table. Just for a matter of fact. And they said, that's not what I meant. I'm like, if you wanted the oldest, just take the oldest and be on the way. But if it's your turn, let's really get into it.
Tell them what you like. Tell them what you normally drink. And don't be shy. Say, normally I drink Macallan or Highland Park or Old Pulteney or whatever. And normally I like this, or I love a sherry bomb. And that brand ambassador will help you. They'll help you to explore.
Pop the perfect bottle for you.
And
let them guide you.
Yeah.
Gil, thank you very much.
With your blinders on.
Yes. No, 100%. Gil, thank you very much. Catherine, if you feel like traveling, come up and see us in New Jersey in a couple weeks. Otherwise, we'll be down by you soon in D.C. and definitely have you on the show again. Everybody, thank you again. Catherine, our Steph, thank you very much. Some absolutely incredible whiskey, Speyburn and Old Pulteney. And she's got Belle Blair hanging back. She's holding that back for the next one.
I want to be there for that.
You know, there may or may not be, those new age statements might be hitting the shelves pretty soon.
And we have a mission now to find Catherine a bourbon she likes. So with that being said, everybody, thank you very much. Mario, we're just going to keep rolling. I'm going to see you in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it. It's been a long time. And everybody, cheers.
Thanks so much for joining us, everybody.
Thank you. And stay healthy. can't wait to do this in person.
All
Cheers.
Very good.
Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
Lunch.
Sanj.
Thanks.
Oh,